All right. What's going on, guys? You're hanging out with your boy Pops, and welcome to the channel. This is a space where I talk about all things relevant to hip hop, and I try to give my 2 cents, and try to create a bit of a dialogue. Today, I wanted to talk about the Double XL magazine. So, if you don't know, the Double XL magazine has been around since the late 90s, and it had a lot of popularity and significance throughout the 2000s. It is still relevant today. However, the influence that it has diminished over time, and that's more to do with the change in mediums. Because print publication has obviously become less and less available or utilized. Nowadays, everything is majority of content is consumed online. It's more digital. But once upon a time, the Double XL magazine held a lot of prestige and influence, and it was well respected by the hip hop community. The introduction of the freshman list, which was unveiled in 2007, so it commenced in 2007. I think it didn't happen in 2008, so it skipped 2008, and then was brought back in 2009. And has remained consistent, so it's still something that's still going. But the concept of the freshman class was an opportunity for the magazine to showcase the latest talent and essentially predict future stars. So today I wanted to reflect on all the issues and see which class actually had the strongest lineup of artists. So in 2007, they had Saigon, Plies, Rich Boy, Gorilla Zoe, Joel Ortiz, Lupe Fiasco, Little Boosie, Crooked Eye, Papoose, and Young Joe. Out of all these artists, I will say the ones that are still relevant are Crooked Eye. Crooked Eye, but more in the sense of I don't know that he's actively making music. I know that he's ventured off into the broadcasting and podcasting kind of media at the moment. So in terms of actual active artists from that list, I wouldn't give it to anyone. So I'm just gonna skip right over that. So 2009, they've got Wale, B.O.B., Charles Hamilton, Asher Roth, Corey Guns, Blue, Mickey Fax, Ace Hood, Currency, and Kid Cudi. I had so 2009 was my late high school years. I was tuned in to a lot of these artists. So Wale, B.O.B., I think I was also Ace Hood and Kid Cudi. So those are my favorite artists at the time. In terms of relevance today, I would say the only one, I know Kid Cudi is still actively making music, even though the style of music he makes has drastically changed over the years. But I will give it to him. I would give it to him. Moving on to 2010. So they had J. Cole, Pill, Nipsey Hussle, Freddie Gibbs, Big Sean, Wiz Khalifa, OJ the Juice Man, J-Rock, Fashawn, and Donis. So out of all that, I think 6 of those contenders were actually great, I think, in my view. So J. Cole, Nipsey, Freddie Gibbs, Big Sean, Wiz Khalifa, and J-Rock. And out of those 6, obviously, Nipsey Hussle was passed away, so R.I.P. to him. But you've got J. Cole, who's evolved to become one of the most prolific rappers of all time, and on his way to becoming a legend. So they definitely made the right prediction on that. Nipsey Hussle, obviously another legend as well. It is unfortunate that his life was cut short, but he was definitely another prolific rapper as well. Freddie Gibbs, one of my favorite artists, actually. I think an influential kind of like artist. Freddie, um, Big Sean, obviously, like Big Sean is also a very, very, huge heavyweight. And for the past 5 years, he had often been considered in general conversations when you're talking about the best rappers, at least of this generation. So they definitely got that right. Wiz Khalifa was
incredible.
He had such a good run, and even though I don't know that he's actively making music nowadays, but he had one of the greatest runs, and he had one of the biggest, pop songs ever. With that Fast and Furious soundtrack. But for a while, he held it down. He held it down for quite a period of time. So definitely. And J Rock, even though J Rock never kind of rose to that superstar kind of like level, J Rock still had an illustrious kind of career, because even though that was shadowed by the prominence of TDE star like Kendrick Lamar, at one point J Rock was actually the front man of Black Hippie, which is a group consisting of J Rock himself, Kendrick Lamar, Schoolboy Q, and Ab Soul. So that was one of the strongest lineups ever. Moving on to 2011, a very, very great list as well. So you've got the likes of Meek Mill, Big Crit, Sci-Hi the Prince, Little Twist, Yellow Wolf, Fred the Godson, Mac Miller, YG, Little B the Bass God, Kendrick Lamar, and Diggy Simmons. So there's quite a lot of questionable artists on there. But out of that list, I would definitely want to highlight Meek Mill, who had a really great run. Big Crit as well. Sci-Hi the Prince, he works a lot in the background, right? He's written for great artists like Kanye West, and I think Travis Scott as well. So he's a guy, who's still making a mark in the industry, even though it's more in the background. Mac Miller was a prolific rapper as well, even though his life was short-lived, so RIP to him. YG had a nice run, The biggest artist coming out of that year was Kendrick Lamar, and with highlights, with second tier shout outs to Meek Mill,